Hello everybody, Katie here. I'm going to do a lesson now about the bridges that cross the River Mersey at the Mersey Estuary from Runcorn to Widnes, which are really important for the history of the local area and the geography of the area at the moment. Here we see a map which is not to scale but does show our school in the location on the Mersey Estuary, with the Manchester Ship Canal, the River Weaver and the River Mersey displayed. It also shows the districts of Runcorn and part of the district of West Bank of Widnes. Our school is particularly located in a transport hub, something that I'll mention later, especially when we talk about the industry associated with Runcorn and Widnes. The blue dot represents the Sandy Lane site down on the docks at Western Point, and the red dot indicates the site at Pico Farm Road Custom House. This slide shows a very important building in the history of canals. Bearing in mind we've just seen on the map the Manchester Ship Canal and its proximity to our school. This building is actually sat on the Manchester Ship Canal, which you would be able to see from our school standing point if there were no other buildings in the way, looking in a northeasterly direction. This is Bridgewater House, and it was built in 1777 by Lord Bridgewater, and it was his sort of porter cabin, for want of a better description, where he would come to stay for a few days at a time so that he could observe the building of the Bridgewater Canal and the Manchester Ship Canal. It's still there, and it's a listed building, and when we're back in school we can go for a little walk up to it. It's absolutely magnificent. So shortly after the building of Bridgewater House, and once the canals were all finished, the canals got a bit unlucky really, because almost on the very last day that the canals were finished, the steam locomotive came into rapid production, and that meant that most of the goods and materials that were aimed to be transported by the canal actually ended up being transported by railway. The very first Runcorn Bridge is actually the one shown in this picture here, and that is the railway bridge that you can see with the royal crests. This is a fascinating and restored picture looking from the Runcorn side directly over to the West Bank Widnes side, and if you look in a northwesterly direction, again you would be able to see this bridge very clearly from our school standing point at Western Point College. If there were no other buildings present, you may be able to see the top of it from the Sandy Lane site, but the Sandy Lane site elevation is a little bit below sea level, so you might not actually be able to see it. This is an image of the second Runcorn Bridge, and my personal favourite is because of its wackiness, its sheer crazy design, is the Transporter Bridge. So this picture was taken from the Widnes side, and it's looking towards the Runcorn side, and it's taken from the very first Runcorn Bridge, the one we've just shown you, and you can see it's sort of like a suspension bridge frame, similar to the suspension bridges in Bristol, etc., built at the same time, but it's actually got like a pulley cart system that the people and vehicles used to go on, and that's circled in the yellow there. It's a slightly different angle, and you can see the first Runcorn Bridge and the second Runcorn Bridge, the Transporter Bridge, from the Runcorn side, looking in an easterly direction towards Manchester on the Ship Canal, and you can see a barge that I've circled in yellow. These were some of the Mersey skip barges and the canal barges, and there's actually a really interesting shipwreck of one of these barges at Spike Island that can be seen at low tide. A few more images of the transporter bridge. Um, would any of you be brave enough to have taken a ride on this? Interesting note, previous to any bridges, people used to get across from Widnes to Runcorn via a ferry at Fiddler's Ferry, which is where the power station is now, which was considered to be not the narrowest point, because the narrowest point is where the railway bridge was built, but it was considered to be the safest point in terms of tide times. Okay, we're getting into modern times now, and you can see here the first Runcorn Bridge and the second Runcorn Bridge and the construction of the Silver Jubilee Bridge in process. The Silver Jubilee Bridge opened in 1961 to great fanfare and celebration. As you can see from this picture here, it was actually a single lane carriageway with great amount of room for pedestrians. Before it closed again for refurbishment, it was actually two lanes on both ways, and there was a lot of congestion associated with this bridge, hence the need to build a new one. Before construction of this bridge began in 1956, they had considered making a large-scale swing bridge similar to the one at Frodsham across the River Weaver. However, that was decided to be not economically viable given the technology required. The total height of this bridge at the cantilever arch is 333 metres, and it was designed by the same people who built the amazing Sydney Harbour Bridge. Since around 1999, plans began to be drawn up for the construction of the fourth Mersey Bridge and the current third to be standing Mersey Bridge, which will be known as the Mersey Gateway. There were lots of things that stood in the way of building this bridge, such as the economic recession of 2008, but the positive factors outweighed the negative, and construction began in 2012. It took many years to build the bridge itself, namely because they had to clear large amounts of wasteland, heritage land, and nature land in order to build this Mersey Gateway Bridge 1.5 miles away from the mouth of the River Estuary was because it needed to add an additional 9 miles of road network into the local infrastructure. It was originally proposed that this Mersey Gateway Bridge, the fourth bridge and third standing bridge, would actually be a two-tier bridge with the northbound traffic on one tier and the southbound traffic on the other tier, similar to the bridge that crosses the Hudson in New York. I hope you've enjoyed our look through the bridges that cross the Mersey really close to our school. They're very important for transport hubs, i.e. we couldn't get back and to school, industry, the chemical industry, the tourism industry, and going back over time, the industries of tanning leather and other important Runcorn industries such as transportation of sandstone and cotton down the ship canal would not have been able to take place if it wasn't for the Mersey and been able to successfully navigate the Mersey. Have a think about local landscapes and local landmarks in your area that are man-made. So say you live in Warrington, is there a particular building that fascinates or interests you, or a particular tower or tunnel, or some part of the man-made landscape like a park that really interests you? Have a think about that. Take some pictures, get some facts from books, from your library, from the internet, and make me a PowerPoint about a local landmark that interests you. If you want to go further afield, there might be something in South America, in North America, in Africa that interests you and fascinates you in terms of a man-made landmark. Have a think, make a PowerPoint, and send it to me on the email address shown here.